Hello everybody, it's yours truly, Chicken Nugget King 313. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm at 307 subscribers. Tell a Lions fan to tell a Lions fan to come join the journey. Tell the sports fan to tell the sports fan to come join the journey and holler back at your boy. Now, we're talking about the schedule. Not the week-by-week schedule because it hasn't dropped. We're talking about road and home games right about now. At home, we have the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Dallas Cowboys. About time you came to Detroit. New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, who just went 10-7 with Russell Wilson and got in the playoffs, and they dropped a goose egg for sure. Tampa Bay, they're coming to Detroit again. Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and Goodwin. Goodwin's a hell of a wide receiver too. Road games, we have Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Washington Commanders, who we just played in the divisional round, and they eliminated us in the divisional round. Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams, where we got to go to LA and compete with, Matthew Stafford, who's a wily vet, a wily, wise old vet, so to speak, with Davante Adams, because I think Davante Adams and Matthew Stafford, I think they're going to click very well. I understand Davante Adams wanted to play alongside Aaron Rodgers, but at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford is one of those quarterbacks you would love to play with and love to learn from, in the film room and even out there on the field. You want to be on the same page as him, and I'm hoping that those guys can be on the same page together because, as a defense, we're going to bring it. But at the same time, this is a tough challenge for the fans. This is a tough challenge for the team. This is a tough challenge for the franchise itself as a whole. And, we got to bring it together. We got to bring it together. We got to have a lot of swagger. We got to have a lot of confidence coming into the season. We do not want to break or bend. We want to, accelerate from here. And we want to be the best team that we can be to compete for, a Super Bowl championship. And I do want to start the season off, playing against the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Amon-Ra St. Brown said it. I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not afraid of them. I want to compete with them. I want to beat the champions. In order to be a champion, you got to beat the champions. And they're the champions. They have the target on their back. They have the bullseye on them. Go get them. Go get them. Don't sit back. Don't be scared. Don't just say, hey, let's go into Philadelphia and win. Take over their trap and run their trap. That's what we got to do, from start to finish. And I would love to start the season off week 1 against them. That's the mentality. That's the focus of, a confident team, a confident, group of players, and a confident group of fans who are season ticket holders that would love to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. And Eagles fans, they talk their trash. They're going to talk their trash. They're going to run their mouth. They're going to say things. But at the end of the day, they're a competitive fan base. And they might get a lot of hate. Everybody can't stand them. Hell, I can't stand them, but I can't stand them in a competitive way. I definitely want to beat them. I definitely want to beat them. I definitely want to beat them at their game. We have, Howie Roseman, who's a technician at drafting. He's going to draft ahead of you, not behind you. You have Nick Sirianni, who finally got over the hump and got a Super Bowl ring. You got, guys like, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, who is one of those power running backs that can electrify the game. You have a nice offensive line. You have a good defensive line. They just had, a Michigander retire, Brandon Graham. He went out swinging with, 2 championships. He hit home runs with that. And that's a, good team that you want to learn from. And I did hear that Eagles fans, they wanted to come to Ford Field and play us, for a chance to go to the Super Bowl in an NFC Championship game. They wanted to compete with us just as much as we want to compete with them. And, it's a smart storyline to go with to start the season. We can have Kansas City, we can have, LA or any other team on the schedule, but there's no other better team to start the season with than to start it with the Philadelphia Eagles, and compete with them. And they just got rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who I, by the way, made videos about. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he knows what it is. He's in a new position. He's in a new team, the Houston Texans. And, Zach Braun, he did resign with the Philadelphia Eagles. I cannot forget that. I cannot leave that out the picture. But then again, I want to start the season off with them. That's one thing I want to do. That's what I want to hit the ground running with. That's what I want to do, and get underway with. So, and I know some Eagles fans are going to be like, Chicken Nugget King, you want a piece of us? You do? They're going to sit there and say, well, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And I want that. But, like I said, we got Chicago. Let me speak on the Chicago Bears for a moment. Me and you, we have a lot of beef. Bears fans and I, we go back and forth. We talk just straight shit to each other all the time. But the main thing is that I like is that they're trying. They're trying to, find that right coach that fits them. They're trying to find that edge. They're trying to find somewhat of a culture to build and make themselves look like a better team for the foreseeable future. And you got an offensive line you just spent money on. You got a defensive line that you're probably going to spend money on. You got 2 phases of the game that helps you win in week-by-week games. Special teams, defense. Those are the things that's carrying the load for the Chicago Bears. Do they have, a quarterback that's, a prima donna, so to speak, with Caleb Williams? He's young, but he has to understand that this league is going to come at you fast and it's going to come at you hard. It's not going to be all peaches and cream in the NFL. And even when he said that to his punter, you ain't going to be punting, for long because we're going to put up the points on the board. Hey, he had another thing coming with that. You was punting every single game. And what he needs to do as a quarterback is to don't hold on the ball longer. You hold on the ball longer and you're trying to do all this Russell Wilson, shit, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. You're going to get sacked. You're going to get hit. You're going to get pressured. You're going to get dropbacks. And you're going to get hit. You know what I'm saying? So you need to, understand. You need to understand that this game is not college. It's not NCAA football. It's different. It's a different mentality. You got defensive linemen, like I said in my last video, that are bullies at the defensive line. They're sharp at their game. They know what they're going to do. They're sharpening up their skills to become a better defensive line, whether if it's interior or outside of it, where it's edge. So again, Chicago got to understand, dude, you're not always going to win a championship within 1 year. And like I said, it's nothing but respect for the fact that you're trying to spin a bag on players and bring players in to help you win games. But at the same token, all that money you spent might not work out for you. It might not go well. For all we know, you might see another 5-12 season. So again, and then another thing. Yeah, did you hire Ben Johnson? Yes, you did. Clap it up for you. But he's a first-year head coach. And he's got challenges along the way while being a head coach. And he's got to worry about the play clock. He's got to worry about the time clock. The play clock and the time clock is a coach's best friend. Use it wisely. Don't just say, oh, I'm an offensive guru. I'm going to cook up all these plays and little trick plays and it'll work and go fine. That's the things that I'll need. I'm not going to worry about the time clock and the play clock. You have to worry about the time clock and the play clock. That was the problem for the Chicago Bears and their former head coach, Matt Eberflus. They didn't trust the play clock. They didn't trust the time clock. Do you have plays? Do you have X's and O's? Yes. But you got to trust the play clock and the time clock so that way you can consistently work as an offense and that way you can be, at the right place at the right time to score and get your first downs. That's what you got to do. You can't just waste time on the clock. You waste time on the clock, you're not going to get a chance to score or win. Or even better yet, get a first down. So that's what the Chicago Bears need to work on because they need to just understand this, that when you have a head coach that's a first-year head coach, it's not going to go all that well to you. What I would suggest as a Lions fan is that you should have went out and got Ron Rivera. You should have went out and got Pete Carroll. Guys who have experience, guys who understand how to build a culture and to change things around. You know what I'm saying? Pete Carroll went to the Las Vegas Raiders. Don't be surprised if he changed things around over there. Don't be surprised if Ron Rivera gets that phone call and goes coaches a team where he could change things around. He can build a culture with it. Don't believe me? Look at the track work that they have. Look at the resume that they got from both of those coaches. Besides Pete Carroll not running the ball and handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, he still has love for Marshawn Lynch. And Marshawn Lynch was at his press conference, by the way. And another thing, this team may not be on the schedule like all the other teams are, but I want to talk about the Jags for a moment too. The Jags, Duval. Liam Cohen had an awful experience in that press conference. He did. But don't be surprised if things change around. You're going to have goofy press conferences from coaches all the time. You're going to have that. But the main thing you expect them to do is to be leaders of men. You expect them to be in the locker room very vocal. You expect them to have players listen to them and understand them. If you don't be a leader of men in the locker room and don't lead the way and don't speak the right way to the players are going to be lazy. The players are going to give up in the game. The players are not going to feel motivated for that week that they prepare for an opponent. So sharpen the skills up and get better with that. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't, have that knack to be a head coach, regardless if you're a defensive guru or an offensive guru, stick to your position of OC and DC. If you don't have what it takes to head coach, then you have to understand to not only have the X's and O's, not only understanding how to trust the play clock and the time clock, but you got to be a leader of men. You don't want to be a sideshow clown. You got to be a leader of men. You got to motivate these guys. You got to rally these guys for victories. That's the moral of this thing. That's the moral of being a head coach. And you got to have the right words to write on the board and say, hey, what are we going to do today? How are we going to get better today? How are we going to exercise our feelings on the field? Or even in basketball, how are we going to exercise our feelings on the floor? How are we going to do that? How are we going to communicate? What is the way that we can build our chemistry together as players and coaches? What can we do to make you get better? To make you get better day in, day out? What is that job? What is that essence for us to do to push us through? So again, coaching as a head coach is tough. You're going to have a bad coaching record. You're going to have a good coaching record, depending on the team that you're on. Some teams are already built and already ready to go. It's just that they need that head coach that can be a leader of men, that can really lead the men, that can lead the men to victory, that can really lead the way in the locker room day in, day out. That's what they need. That's what they need. Leader of men. Dan Campbell, leader of men. Mike Vrabel, leader of men. Bill Belichick, leader of men. Buddy Ryan, leader of men. Mike Holmgren, leader of men. Even though he had X's and O's to his game, but he was a leader of men. Pete Carroll, as I mentioned again, leader of men. Ron Rivera, leader of men. Those guys have the knack to be leader of men. Sean McDermott with the Buffalo Bills, leader of men. He's just not only X's and O's. He's a leader of men. His players listen. And they trust him. Look at the way Josh Allen definitely productively, developed. Look at how he developed. Josh Allen was this kid that came out of Wyoming University that no one put their eyes on. Wyoming is never that eye-opener college. But when he came into the NFL, he was looking for a coach that could develop him, that could sharpen his tools, so to speak. And when he sharpened his tools and learned from Sean McDermott, that's when Sean McDermott said, you know what? I don't want to just come here and be X's and O's. I want to be a leader of men. I want to lead you to where we want to go. I want to lead you to the playoffs. I want to lead you to wins. I want to be a winning franchise. I want to do everything and more to make sure that we succeed. That's it. And if you understand me like I understand you, and if you trust me like I trust you, then we're going to work. Sky's the limit. Green Bay Packers have a lot of history and success by doing stuff like that. With Matt LaFleur might not be the most likable head coach, but shit, the dude understands what it takes to win. Dan Campbell, our head coach, he understands what it takes to win. That's the type of stuff that coaches and players love. They love players and coaches and front offices that want to be leaders. Not just because they want to see other teams and duplicate what they do and put it to their team, and it just won't work. You can't do the Patriot way. You can't do it. You can't do what Chiefs Kingdom do. Shout out to the, actually a little, not shout out, but basically a little, a little stripe at the Minnesota Vikings. Because the Minnesota Vikings, their front office with Kwesi, they're confused right now. They do trust J.J. McCarthy, but they just don't know how to, put it all together. They don't understand how to put it together. Really. That's just my opinion. But like I said, in the schedule and in the season, you're going to have leaders of men. You're going to have X's and O's. You're going to have to trust the play clock, the time clock, and to make things better in the NFL. That's what the NFL is about. Trusting players, trusting coaches to make sure they make the right decisions on the field. And even when they're in practice, we got to practice and sharpen our tools up so that way we can compete for a championship. That's what that is. That's what you fight for, from preseason to regular season to playoffs. The postseason is the push that you want to get to. But regular season, preseason is stuff that matters. The preseason, you're definitely liable to cut guys. You sign free agents to fill holes. You draft players that could be here for the foreseeable future. That's what you do it for. And not only you do it for that, but you do it for the aspect of 90 men, of having a 90-man roster to cut. You do it for the, perspective of having a 75-man roster to cut. So that way it could be all down to 53. It's 53 men out there. Brothers at arm. Playing hard any given Sunday. Just to lay it on the line and sacrifice in a game that we play 60 minutes. Hell, I don't play football. But I played basketball, because basketball was 48 minutes a game. But football is 60 minutes a game where you're sacrificing and lay it on the line. That's what that is about, bro. That's what that's truly about, man. And like I said, I don't want to just preach. I just want you to, understand that I'm teaching from my perspective, the way I see things of what coaching is, the way I see things of player development, the way I see things of, teams that are just all grinding. That's all grinding and trying to get to where, many other teams have done before, But in a blink of an eye, it's 31 other teams and it's the Detroit Lions. We're trying our best, so take it easy on Brad Holmes. That's what I want to say to Lions fans. Take it easy on Brad Holmes. Nothing gets built overnight. Championships aren't won in April. You have an expectation in April to be champions, but you also got to understand that championships are built, by drafting and free agency and by having great chemistry in the locker room. That's what that championship stuff is built for. Now that I said that, you win championships in January and February. February 2026, the Super Bowl is in San Francisco. A team that won nothing but 6 championships. I bloopered. Maybe 5. They won 5. And they're not my team that I watch, but you get the point. So, having the Super Bowl there in Levi Stadium, you have 17 weeks to prepare. You have 17 weeks to battle. You have 17 weeks to battle. Each Sunday to battle. This has been a video of your boy, Chicken Nugget King. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. One pride, one Detroit, one love. And tell a Lions fan to come join the journey. Tell a sports fan to come join the journey. And holler back at your boy, Chicken Nugget King. I'm out.